Okay, so welcome to Studio 120 again, out in the little sweltering garage and starting a new project. This is actually something I tried to start a few weeks ago or maybe a month ago, and it just wasn't working out. I had my little iPad out and I was flipping between images and I couldn't get my figures to line up correctly or the portraits to line up correctly in my mind. This is a two-portrait, two-panel piece with Bobby and his friend Christy. And what I was running into was flipping between the images. I couldn't get their heights correct. I couldn't get the proportions correct as they relate to one another. So I went to Staples and I had black and white images printed out of each of them. And that's what I work better from anyway. That's what I work best from anyway, are just simply black and white images. They give me the room to create color, create idea, create texture, just to have much more fun and make it more of an adventure. So I'm going to start that in a little while, and I'll probably do another studio mate in another state where I'm just primarily painting and we're working along side by side. But I wanted to talk about a couple of different subjects today, and one of them was a painting I addressed another couple of videos ago, or maybe the last one, who knows. Let me grab it. I talked about this same issue, like not really having it fully balanced, not really working it to its full potential, which is what I was trying to start there, you know, uneven and blah, blah, blah. So I thought this figure was the be-all, end-all of the solution for the painting, and it really wasn't. But I've been reworking him. I brought his shoulders up. I lifted his elbows up a bit. I also defined his face a little bit more. But in doing so, I saw so many more deficits in this figure painting. Their faces were not really fully formed, a fully formed idea. I also hadn't committed to the dark backgrounds. So I came out here and I sat in my little red chair, which you can't see, staring at it for a little bit, and then I get in my little office chair and kind of wheel back and forth and look at it and stare at it and think and, you know, what can I do? And I went, dude, you're trying to get away with it here. You're trying to fake it. So I went back in. I'm trying to be clever, which I absolutely hate. So I went in. Oh, I think Andy's working on his lawn, so you're going to hear his mower going. Sorry about that. My neighbor Andy. I went back in and I started putting in lots of darks. I darkened her skirt instead of leaving it lighter and saying, oh look, you can see the brush strokes. It just wasn't lending itself well to the overall painting. It said more about how I paint than the subject. Like I need that balance, that thing in between that says, you know, this is how Beck paints, here are brush strokes, and also here is the content. And then, so your mind is constantly moving in this circling and finding things to be engaged with. But back here too, I hadn't fully engaged in darks. I had purples. I had this weird, I think dioxide purple in there with some blue and then some transparent earth red. But it wasn't deep enough. It wasn't committed enough. So I went back in and I have committed to the lights and darks more. I evened out the steps, made them more of a golden yellow, which is it's really interesting because it's such a bright yellow in comparison to everything else. And so normally I would argue against using such a bright yellow, but for me it works here. That also got me to bring in darks here, darks framing around him and framing around this figure. Sorry, allergies are really bad. Pardon me. I've also gone in and I've added far more detail to his face, giving him more character, adding more color, more teals, but also some greens, which come down and relate throughout the painting, more teals, but also widening the women's glasses just a little bit. So I think it's a much better painting. I'm much happier, much more proud of it now than I was before. And so again, it's, you know, really digging in and being committed to the work. Making a statement, not just a pretty picture. Excuse me. And that's what I'm going to try and do here today, is make a commitment to these two figures. Bobby, oh God, wait a minute. Excuse me. I gotta take some Benadryl. Bobby actually bought a painting of mine several years ago. He flew from Pittsburgh down to Miami and ended up getting Frida Kahlo, and it made me so incredibly proud. So incredibly proud. This is one of my proudest moments because Bobby was a transgender man, and the steps it took to save up money for the trip and for the painting as well. Again, to being that committed to something. He flew down, he purchased the painting, and it just, when I got the phone call, I was absolutely floored and so deeply honored to have someone like Bobby go out of their way because of YouTube, because they found me on Pinterest, because they found me on Instagram and other places and communicated with me. They felt so compelled to go to extraordinary measures to buy my work. I am always awed by that. So I need to show that respect, the respect I have for Bobby and what he went through, not just in the purchase, but in his entire life, what actually ended several months ago. Bobby took a lifelong dream trip, fell, hit his head, and is gone now. And that's what this is about. It's a tribute to Bobby and his friendship with Christy. So I'm going to start working on that, but I have to be as committed to that as Bobby was to my work and also to his community and his life. I've been asked many times, why do you paint gender fluid people, transgender people, gay people, drag queens, black people? Why do you paint people that aren't of the norm in the art world as subjects or gallery world? I find them really interesting. I find that courage, that commitment, that dedication to social activism in their stories so enriching and interesting, and it's something I am compelled to show respect to. So that's why we do it. And so I'll be showing respect to Bobby in a little bit on a studio mate in another state. But I'm always deeply honored when anyone purchases my work or comments or emails me. I hate to use the word humbling because I think it's overused and it's condescending. But it affects me. Let me put it that way. It floors me when I hear from people, or I find out what they've gone through to meet me or to buy my work or anything. It's just, it floors me. So I appreciate it, and I wanted to let everybody know that. But there's something else going on that I'd like to let everybody know about. I'm working with a new social media marketer from Chasing Gallery, for Chasing Gallery. Sorry, I think I'm sweating like a pig as well as my allergies taking over. But I'm working with a new social media marketer for Chasing Galleries. We're laying out plans. He's going to be setting up refreshed accounts on Instagram and I think a Facebook web page, a new website page. Eventually, I'll let you know what's going on. Because what we're doing is we're loading smaller work of mine, more affordable work, and a little bit older work too, that it would be nice to have out in the world. So we're setting that up now. We're going to be meeting a couple times this week, and I really look forward to that. As soon as I have links, they'll be up on my YouTube page. And he's asked me to come up with 2 to 5 words, and I need your help. 2 to 5 words that aren't so much descriptive as they are a challenge for the audience that relate to my work. What he gave me the example was, think differently. Steve Jobs, quote, think differently. It took the Apple computer and he presented it not as a beautiful thing then, but as a challenge from the boxes we were used to. Think differently. Verb, adverb. Verb, adverb. And it challenged people to go out and purchase this thing that didn't look like anything else. And so I've come up, I have my own words. I'm kind of stuck on von innen, which is German from the inside or from within. And it's something I've used before, but I'm considering it. Another one, somebody suggested this as well. Feel intensity, which isn't verb adverb, it's more verb noun. But there was feel energy. I can't remember. I've been getting suggestions from people, and I'd really appreciate any suggestions you might have. What I'm looking for is, again, a verb adverb. So we've got an action, and then we've got a descriptive word for the verb. I am going to go take some Benadryl now and hope this chills out. But we'll do studio mate in another state in a little while. All right? Good God. Ciao.